We've been a leader in banking for more than 100 years. You'll find us here, at home, on your phone, and everywhere you go. Renaissance Bank. Understanding you. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Sponsored by Renaissance Bank.
Good morning. Welcome to Daily Journal Newsbreak, sponsored by Renaissance Bank. Today is Tuesday, September 18th, and I'm your host, Elizabeth Walters. We're going to take a look at today's top news and sports stories across Northeast Mississippi, but first, a look at your weather forecast. Today we'll have sunny skies with a high of 94 and tonight's low around 69. And over the next 3 days, on Wednesday, we'll have mostly sunny skies with a high of around 95 and a low of 71. On Thursday, sunny skies with a high of 94 and a low of 72. And on Friday, partly cloudy skies with a high of 91 and a low of 71. And now let's take a look at some of today's top headlines. National Merit semifinalists were recently announced, and 5 students from Lee County have received the honor. We profiled the honorees in this morning's Daily Journal, beginning with Shelby Lindsay. The Shannon High senior is the only selection from the Lee County School District, and while she was encouraged to graduate a year early, she insisted on staying and enjoying her senior year. She comes from a long line of Shannon High graduates, including her grandfather, Lynn Lindsay, who was a math teacher and coach before spending 24 years as the high school principal. And for the Tupelo Public School District, 4 students were named. Bailey Fitz, Victor Malieve, Sally Grace Shettles, and Sam Slyman were notified last week. Over 90% of semifinalists advance to become finalists. Semifinalists are selected based on results from a preliminary SAT exam taken during the student's junior year. Finalists are granted a range of scholarship options, including full tuition at Ole Miss and Mississippi State. And for a complete list of the semifinalists from Northeast Mississippi, you can find that at djournal.com. And Chris McDaniel stopped in Tupelo on Monday night, speaking to supporters and addressing controversy over some recent comments. While appearing at an Oxford taping of the cable news program Morning Joe last Friday, the Ellisville State Senator was asked how he would pitch candidacy to Mississippi's black voters. And he responded by saying, quote, "I'm going to ask them, after 100 years of relying on big government to save you, where are you today? After 100 years of begging for federal government scraps, where are you today? We've been dead last for 100 years, end quote. That quote not only drew boos from the live audience, but also fellow Republicans. McDaniel clarified that he was not asserting that the beggars are African Americans, but the state itself. McDaniel offered that same explanation on Monday and said that the line of attack he's receiving is a smear, saying, quote, "When they can't debate the issues, they have to find ways to create scandals," end quote. Both Governor Phil Bryant and State GOP Chairman Lucian Smith condemned McDaniel's remarks, saying the statement does not reflect the beliefs of the Mississippi Republican Party. McDaniel is up against several candidates, including Cindy Hyde-Smith, who was appointed to replace now retired Thad Cochran earlier this year. And speaking before lawmakers on Monday, State School Superintendent Carrie Wright focused her pitch on more money for state-funded preschool and ways to improve teaching and school leadership. The Associated Press reported that Wright's proposed increases would cost about $11.5 million and request more money for public-private school networks, coaches to improve reading instruction, and a new statewide computer data system. Wright also mentioned fully funding the state's K-12 funding formula, which would include an additional $250 million on top of the $2.2 billion the state is spending this year. Leaders from the state's public universities and community colleges did not appear before lawmakers, but the community colleges are asking for an additional $83 million, and the 8 public universities are asking for an additional $127 million. And in sports, leading up to Mississippi State's SEC opener at Kentucky this weekend, the focus is again on how to slow down the Wildcats' top running back. So far this season, Benny Snell Jr. has rushed for 375 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Kentucky had over 520 yards of offense in last weekend's win over Murray State. The junior said that the Wildcats' offense, quote, "Don't fear nobody. I know they're good, but this offense is good too." In last season's game in Starkville, the Bulldogs held Snell to his lowest output of the season, 18 yards on 7 carries. And Coach Joe Moorhead feels his new defensive staff can draw up an effective game plan to slow down Snell. State's defense so far this season has only allowed 85 yards per game on the ground. And that does it for Newsbreak on this Tuesday. Don't forget that this show is one of the many online offerings courtesy of the Daily Journal that gets your news off the page and on the go. Each story discussed on Newsbreak can be found in your daily journal or online at djournal.com, where you can find a new episode of Newsbreak each weekday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Walters. Have a great afternoon.